During these experiments, our aim is to be out of that web. The biggest help for us is the paras intellect. When we are using paras, it's so obvious that one side is the story and the other side is the real world. We see the real world in the image of the sky. World of silence. World of complete stillness. This is the home of these travelers. This is the home of the souls. This is where we belong. There is a sense of belonging. Story world is a separate thing. This is the home of the travelers. It's the home of the family of souls. It's the home of the Father. Thank you. We're talking about metamorphosis. It's a very interesting phenomena in nature. It intrigues biologists, it intrigues evolutionists, because abrupt changes take place in a positive fashion that cannot be easily explained by the ordinary structure of evolution. One example of metamorphosis is how charcoal gets converted into diamond. How a frog emerges from a tadpole. Tadpole is more like a fish. It has got gills and it takes oxygen from water. In a very short time, it develops lungs, loses the tail, develops hind legs, big legs, able to jump on the land and croak. So it is like a big shift takes place in a very short time. It is metamorphosis. But famous example is how a butterfly comes from larva. That is what we will be discussing today in some detail. So we'll see what happens in metamorphosis. Let us take the example of the butterfly and larva. This discussion might take about half an hour, but we'll take this up. Start with, there is your cabbage leaf, and this is the stage of the egg. The eggs are laid on a leaf. These are the eggs. They are laid in such a way that once the eggs hatch and the larvae come out, they start eating that leaf. That leaf itself is their nutrition in the early stage. So they choose a leaf that is going to be a delicious meal for the future offspring. The phase of the egg lasts for about 1 week. Then the next phase, what we call larva. Other name for this is pest. When you call pesticides, they are for this. Because this larvae come out. And do you know what is the one function of larva? Larva just eats. That is the one function of larva. It eats your garden leaf and gets bigger. It stretches so much that it needs a new skin. So this is called molt. And it just to have a new skin because it has expanded so much. And sometimes they molt up to 7 times. They keep eating non-stop. And this stage may last for 2 weeks. What's the next stage? Next stage is called the pupa stage. In this stage, the larva hangs from some stem, can be a leaf, and creates a shell a hard shell. And what happens inside the shell? It dissolves.
Turns into liquid.
That's right, yes. The whole larva dissolves into a protein-rich soup. Its skin, its intestines, salivary glands, bones, everything dissolves and becomes liquid. And from this, in a pupa stage, from this liquid, the future butterfly comes out. What is interesting for us to know is even when it is at the egg level or larva level, it has got certain cells here, what is shown in orange. They are called imaginal cells. And they are in the form of a disc, so they are called imaginal disc. So these cells were there at the level of the egg, they are there at the level of the larva, they are there at the level of pupa. They continue. I may have to draw the, so there is imaginal disc. I'm just checking. So if I am to draw the pupa again, so this is pupa, and we saw the future butterfly. So those imaginal cells, imaginal discs, they are there at the pupa level. So they were there at the level of the egg, they were there at the level of the larva, they are there at the level of the pupa. Another thing we need to know, there are two enzymes. One enzyme is called actizone, and another enzyme is called juvenile hormone. These two enzymes. If the level of juvenile hormone is more, the larva continues to stay larva. If the level of actizone increases more than juvenile hormone, then the next step is, it proceeds to the next step. Larva dissolves, begins to dissolve. In other words, actizone is working for the future butterfly. Because unless the larva dissolves, you cannot get a butterfly. So actizone is necessary to dissolve the larva. That is what it works for. Juvenile hormone keeps the larva as larva. So if we see here, there are these imaginal cells here. Those imaginal cells are the future butterfly. So they are remnant, they are sort of latent there in the egg, in the larva, they are latent. As the level of actizone increases, they are activated. And this active, this imaginal cells now, so they are working for the butterfly. So it dissolves the larva and is preparing for the butterfly. So this whole protein-rich soup get used in the formation of the butterfly, and the butterfly comes out of the shell. Now what we are also seeing, there are certain animals where metamorphosis takes place, and they are called Holometaboly. Those kinds of animals, can be all those with the wings, insects. A butterfly is a good example. They go through metamorphosis. Not every animal has metamorphosis. Like for example, crocodile. Crocodile hasn't got metamorphosis. And a human ordinarily, your dog, is not going through metamorphosis. But what we are saying here, human beings are wholly metaboly. We have the function of going through this transformation. So how? Let us try and see how. We are seeing that there is this these enzymes we spoke of. So what is the equivalent enzyme for us? If you were to be asked, we spoke of these enzymes. One enzyme is actizone, and other enzyme is juvenile hormone. We said juvenile hormone works for the larva and actizone works for the future butterfly. Now, what is the parallel in human beings?
Is it the stone intellect and the paras intellect?
Sure. Good. Now, our parallel is we all go through the phase of the larva. And what do we do when we are in the larva stage? Human beings. Do you know any human being in the larva stage?
We try to gain more and more knowledge, like eat more and more, feed more and more knowledge.
Eat, sleep, and be merry.
Body consciousness is the state of larva, and soul consciousness is change, a state of change.
Sure. So what we can see in our human level, just human, leave aside the spiritual process. All human beings, when we are in the larva stage, they want to get bigger and bigger and bigger, as if that is their mission. They want more, more money, they want to eat more, they want a bigger house, they want a bigger this. It is all mine. Whatever they see, if they can get it, they will take mine. Want to claim as much as possible. And they get bigger. That is the larva phase of the human being. They have to molt a few times. But then comes the time when they dissolve. This is the one possibility in human beings, to dissolve. But who will dissolve? Who will choose a life where they actually want to become free from all these attachments and greed and ego, want to dissolve the ego? In an Indian system, of 4 phases in the life, there is a phase called Grahasthashram, the householder life. But then at the age of 50, he wants to be free from all these attachments and goes to the next phase called Vanaprasthashram. So he chooses a life, more a monastic life. He has a guru. He works for something else. God is more important rather than possessions here. So here, that is a pattern that is going on in us also, in everyone. That option is there. With whatever culture or background we are from, there comes a time he wants to dissolve the bones, dissolve the ego. And as he is doing this, he is actually working for the future butterfly. Not possible for everyone to do this. Who will be able to do this? Only if there is the right enzyme. Then only he can do it. I'm coming back. If there is the enzyme actizone, then he will dissolve. He wants to dissolve. But if the juvenile hormone is more, then he will try to hold on to the larva, continue as in that household phase forever. Larva gets bigger and bigger. So what is the juvenile hormone for us? What is the name for our juvenile hormone that works for the larva, that works for the ego?
Attachment.
Attachment, yeah. Any other word?
Vices.
Isis.
Body consciousness.
Broadly, the word Maya. As if Maya is the intelligence, cleverness that comes with clever arguments to keep the ego alive, to keep Ravan alive. It doesn't want anybody to stop Ravan getting bigger. So that is the department of Maya. Maya works for the ego. What is the equivalent of active zone for us?
Soul consciousness.
Sure. Soul consciousness would be the result, but what is the equivalent of the enzyme?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, yes. So more knowledge you have, that will give you the strength to dissolve. Because active zone actually allows, makes the larva to dissolve itself. This is quite a extraordinary thing that is seen in biology. How animal chooses creatures. Normally, every bird, animal, they all want to eat more. So here we are seeing the caterpillar chooses to dissolve. So what is it that inspires? That is extraordinary. There is an enzyme there inside. So same way in a human being, ordinarily they are all working to more. And suddenly if you are seeing that there is someone who is dissolving, want to dissolve himself, there must be something happening. They are actually more clever. So what happens? Knowledge is not dumb, is not someone who is dissolving and at a disadvantage. Knowledge actually just means he is understanding a different game. He is working for the butterfly. And with that in mind, he is dissolving all the bonds. And if one can dissolve all the bonds, you get full wings. If you dissolve less bonds, you get smaller wings. But that is, game is different. He plays a different game. Now, how come knowledge helps you to dissolve? Someone was mentioning paras, and word knowledge is so relevant. Because what happens with knowledge? You are understanding the bigger map. That is the power of knowledge. Like over the last few days, one thing that is repeated and emphasized is the bigger map. And only when you see the bigger map, you realize there is a soul there. And there is immortality. And there is a home. You are understanding different things. You are also seeing how strange this temporary story, and we are creating attachments in a temporary story. This is very obvious. It's a story, there is a beginning and end to every episode. This Prashant itself is to end. And how strange to create attachments, create ego, to believe that is me. How mad. One can see clearly the absurdity of it. one can hold this understanding. This invisible traveler has got much bigger journey than Prashant. Invisible traveler is eternal and he has a home. You are seeing that bigger map. Once that map is clear, that is what knowledge is. Now to become free from ego becomes obvious. You are not even seeing it as you are dissolving. You don't even see it that way. You feel you are just becoming free from ignorance. But that is like a necessary process. At some level, things get dissolved. Those bonds are dissolved. Ego is dissolved. Not with pain, but with fun. You are becoming free from ignorance. You see, of course, you're coming out of mud. So you're not renouncing anything, but you are becoming clean. But that process, as the knowledge increases, that dissolving will become complete. That helps the imaginal cells to multiply, and it leads to the future butterfly. And that is what the angel is. Yesterday we mentioned that deities, the question was asked, where do angels fit in? Deities are angels in flesh and bones. There is a consciousness is the angel. Angel is subtle, just like soul. Soul conscious soul, they are angels. They may have their own existence, before coming into the deity phase. So Brahmin to deity, that interface, that is the angelic phase. But not at a drama level. That's why we don't show in that discussion on the clans. But this discussion tells us that human beings are wholly metaboly. In other words, we are not those who are just stuck at the larva level. We are not meant to be larva. We are a race of butterfly. Larvae are destructive. In your garden, you don't want larvae. They will pests, you call them. You bring pesticides because they destroy your crop. But you would like butterfly to be in the garden. Larvae eat leaves. Butterfly, they go for nectar. Larvae are sticky, slimy creatures, whereas butterfly, their life is dense and with colors and they are happy, make others happy. So this is the life, that is the shift that takes place from larva to butterfly. Human beings are not meant to be pest. Pest is not a destination. Pest is just a passing phase for the butterfly. In the same way, this present phase is the passing phase. If there are too many pests, it will destroy the planet. At present, it is in the process of human beings are in the process of destroying the planet. But we have to shift human beings to next level, become butterfly, and they will make the planet into golden age. Excellent. You would like to add anything, say anything?
So the imaginal cells analogy would be our original sanskars
Angel,
that multiply.
soul consciousness within us, the soul consciousness. So that is what we are nourishing. This knowledge gives attention to the soul. Soul conscious soul is the angel. And at that level, yes, at that level are your angelic sanskars. But one thing that this knowledge speaks of is the concept of yajna. In Vedic structure, there was understanding that yajna just means sacrificial fire. Whatever you sacrifice, you get return of it, many times more. That understanding is there. So in sacrificial fire, those who sacrifice grains, they will get grains through the year. Those who sacrifice gold, you get gold through the year, bit like that. So this knowledge says, not just yajna, but a jnana yajna, yajna of knowledge. This whole institution, it's name, another name for this is jnana yajna, sacrificial fire with knowledge. And this is a yajna, it is established for us to dissolve. It is a yajna created for all the larvae, those who have reached a level, they understand they want to dissolve. Okay, here is the fire. But fire of knowledge, there is no physical fire, fire of knowledge. And apply yourself for this yajna. Use your time, mind, body, wealth, dissolve. You just remain that soul, you are that point. Let the larva dissolve and these imaginal cells remain. This is the attitude. Nothing is mine. Even the body is not mine. You are a trustee using everything. Become free from the label mind. Someone said, but ideas, I gave the ideas, they are my idea. So why I should not say this is my idea? Anyone would like to tell, say you got a great idea, grand, you should say, no, this is my idea. They should praise your idea, they should give you prizes for that being your idea. So you say it is not my idea. That is not fair. You should get some credit for coming with that idea. So here is, if you are using the knowledge, you say, not my idea. You become free from it. Why? Why it is not yours? Or should you become free? Or should you claim this is my idea? And no one is giving any credit, no one is praising me, but it is my idea. You should make a point, no? Put this thing straight. What do they say? Put it straight. Just want to put the matter straight. For records. Is everyone joining? Mostly.
I have a question.
But anyone want to answer my question?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the idea, why should you not say this is my idea? What is your reason?
Because it'll make your ego bigger. Nothing here belongs to us anyway.
Gross.
It's like taking. It's like taking something.
Sure.
The idea has also emerged from the knowledge that has been given to me by God. So ultimately, it is not mine.
Good, very good. What happens? The cleverness lies in not being deceived. So in this box that we are coming, lots of glitter is coming, and people say this is all yours, and this is gold for you, this is a gift for you, and all this coming. Let us see if you can be deceived by anything. More you are deceived, then the prize is less. If you are not deceived by anything, then the prize is bigger. So you are having the attitude, nothing there, not one atom in that box can be yours. You are just a traveler. Then you have understood knowledge properly. You remain clean and not deceived in that box, Ravan's box. Now these ideas, whatever the ideas, you cannot use those ideas outside of the box. Those ideas are for that box. So use those ideas as a trustee. The moment you say these are my ideas, then you are deceived. You're crossing the line and then you are getting drawn into something more. So if you can keep that attitude, I have not come with any of these things. I'm using this for this world and I go out of this. Then you are very clean internally and you will find you will be able to stay clean. So more you dissolve your bones, bigger are your wings. If you dissolve half the bone, half the wing. So it is better you use knowledge in different ways to dissolve. Those who are in this, they are playing a different game. They are playing a game for the butterfly, whilst others are playing the game for the pest. They want to become a bigger pest. That is the game they are playing, but you are playing the game for the butterfly. So it's a different game. But for this game, you need the enzyme of knowledge. And ego based on Purusharth, yes, it is an ego. Instead of being the soul, you are saying, I am the one who is making effort to become soul conscious. So that is the ego coming in with another hat. Someone else says, I am a champion in sport. He creates ego. And this ego is, I am making effort for spiritual progress. The one who is awake, he is already the embodiment. He is the soul. Soul is the embodiment of spirituality.
I'm just actually thinking that I understand that it's in this moment that I am the soul and that's it. That's it. So there is really no effort there. But I am constantly also say keeping a chart or making a thing that okay, I have to do this or do this in terms of Purusharth. So what should be the correct awareness while I'm also making say a plan for my Purusharth, or like, so that it does not become a ego head for me. I am again somewhere identifying with that Purusharth somewhere, I feel.
Yeah. The bottom line is soul, that invisible traveler going through the story, going through the drama, that is absolute. Invisible traveler is the invisible actor. And actor may be playing a part of a great, whatever the part he's playing, that's the part. The actor never says that I am that part. Say he may be playing the part of James Bond, and James Bond is jumping from one building to another building. He knows that is a part. He doesn't create ego that I am the one who jumped from one building to another building. The actor remains free from the whole thing of the drama. This discrimination we should use, and we should keep ourselves free from any entitlement or getting polluted by the drama. Spiritual effort or otherwise. You are keeping the chart, that's good. You are following the director, you are making the program. In the drama, you have to follow the director. But that is a part. Self-respect is a very different thing. Self-respect of the invisible actor. On the question about the larvae, some larvae remain larvae? Sooner or later, everyone will have to dissolve. But if you dissolve the full, whole lot, you get full wings. If you dissolve the entire bone, you get big wing. If you dissolve less, you get a smaller wing. So there are butterflies also have wings, and house flies also have wings. But some have smaller wings, some have bigger wings. So that influences the future reward as to how much you dissolve. How big is your heart and the intellect? As we said, you need understanding to dissolve. So it is a test of that. How much can you dissolve? That's the test of your head and heart.
I just want to know, is my Purusharth also predetermined?
In one sense, we should say that. We use the language, say, right brain and left brain. That kind of if you are playing sport in the right brain in attitude, you say that is just a sport. It is all not so important. But at the same time, you are going to play and you are playing to win. You are taking it seriously. One side of you says this is not serious, other side of you says it is serious. So same applies here. And this is a game. One side of your right brain says many things are predetermined. But left brain says you have to still go and play and make effort, and you are playing to win.
So I hope that helps. Just one thought that came, that the quality experience when we catch the uniqueness of the invisible traveler, that higher happiness is helping us in terms of discrimination for what is what's true happiness and what might be the limited happiness of ego mixed with spiritual effort, because it can get into an identity. But when we get the contrast, it becomes a helpful way to navigate what is really leading to accurate experiences. Myrtle, like to say something?
Yes, I just want to say how I feel about what I have been exposed to over the last 7 days. There are two things that have made a tremendous difference. The sketch of the soul and dipping into the drama and out again. And that combined with the statement that a yogi lives up there and we do yoga down here. When I take that statement with the image, it's very clear what this is all about. The real world, the stage, and if I'm to be a yogi, I should operate from the real world. That has been very helpful to me in my meditations for the last couple of days. So thank you for that.
Maybe the encouragement for this week, or as a follow-up from here, is we create time for ourselves, and let there be emphasis on quality. The essence is very, very simple. Greatness of a human being is in remaining free from the web. The greater character, greatness of anyone's character is decided by how free he is from the web. Because the natural nature of everyone is angelic. So more he creates attachments, more he gets trapped, more he creates ego, more the addictions, lust, all these lead to degradation of the soul and lower the character and goes to the lower consciousness. This is like so beautiful to know that game is just in this. Become free. And when we are using the word soul consciousness, it is not just a nice word or a nice belief, but awake soul is free from the whole story. It includes Prashant is part of the story. And so also for each one of us, there is whatever that physical is, it is all part of the story. We have to grasp the soul that is not awake. Get the soul awake and see the perspective from the soul. Then you have got the freedom from the web. Soul conscious. When the soul is not conscious, ego is conscious. So some homework, creating quality, creating seconds, minutes that are accurate, and then build on it. That is our journey. Authentic change. You don't want to prove to anyone about, you're not trying to cash in. Don't bring this spiritual change, cash it in to get a little bit attention, praise. That is not a reason you are doing this. You are doing it for its own sake. So we underline the word sometimes, sincere effort and serious effort.